Hello everyone. I'm making this video as a follow-up to my initial introduction video. I wanted to explain a few things about why I'm here, not only about how I got here, which I showed in the first video about coming in on the boat. But I didn't come here for the same reason that many of you guys out there are coming to the Philippines, either to retire here, hopefully looking for a partner. I came here to visit a couple of friends that I met in South Africa in 2008. He's an Australian man and his wife is a Cebuana. And they invited me to come here and visit them in Cebu, which I managed to do 3 years later. And because of some problems with the boat before I got here later in the season than I had originally planned, so it was not possible or safe to continue on. I originally planned to come and stay for about 3 or 4 months and then keep moving. But since I got here in July, because of typhoons and such and the southwesterly winds, I decided to stay for a while. Well, staying for a while led to 3.5 years being here. Now I've done some other trips like to Thailand and Hong Kong and up to Subic Bay on the boat. But I've kind of settled in here now to Cebu, and I really like it. Of course, like I said, I didn't come here looking for a relationship, but since I was going to be here for a while initially, I thought, why not? I'd been here many years ago. I know the Filipinas, many of them are just absolutely beautiful, and they have very sweet personalities often. But the problems that exist were the same in 1968 as they are today in trying to have a relationship with someone. I have run the entire gamut from bar girls to recommendations, friends of friends, older women, younger women, educated, not educated, ones that spoke English quite well, ones that barely spoke English at all. I've probably spent something on the order of $6,000 to $7,000 US over the last 3.5 years pursuing relationships. Now, I did have a relationship for 1.5 years with a younger woman that turned out not to work so good. It lasted for 1.5 years, and I invited her to leave, mostly because of her immaturity. Which was my own fault for getting involved in the relationship. But I would say half the money that I spent over that period of time was with her. Got her a passport, went to visit her family a couple times, gave her family a little bit of money, not a lot. So for 3.5 years, spending about $3,000 pursuing relationships is not a big expenditure. Maybe for some of you it would be. For me, it didn't drain the bank account. And because I'm basically somewhat stingy, pretty aware of what's going on, I didn't fall for any of the big traps, although I was led to the brink of them many times through these different women that I've met. Anyway, after I was here for about 6 months, I went up to Subic Bay, because that's where I first came to the Philippines in 1968, and I wanted to see if I recognized it. Well, it changed so much that I almost didn't recognize it at all. But while I was there, I met a man, an Australian man who owns a resort on the beach up in Subic Bay. We became friendly, and it was great because he allowed me to stay on a mooring right in front of his resort for free. And that was terrific with me. Now, of course, his resort has a couple of the girly bars, a wonderful restaurant. And he told me, because I talked to him about the situation with relationships and the women. By the way, he's married to a Filipina and been living here for 22 years, so he's got a pretty good handle on it. He said, basically, something you've all heard before: if their lips are moving, they're lying, and stay away from the bar girls. Of course, I didn't follow that particular advice, but it didn't cause me any great problems, and actually met some very interesting women that way. He gave me a lot of other good advice about being here and living in the Philippines, but I had no idea about all this YouTube, people being on YouTube and making videos and Yahoo groups and all that kind of stuff, of being a rather independent and cantankerous person. and being used to being on my own and doing things on my own, including sailing around the world, I just kind of stumbled through. I just recently got involved with the YouTube thing, set up my own website, started doing videos because I thought it would be fun. I'm retired, I don't need to work, and this certainly doesn't cost much except connection to the internet to upload. So that's kind of my life for the last 3.5 years in a nutshell. I've had good times, some scary times, mostly due to storms. Sailing back from Hong Kong back in 2012, I was in the tail edge of a typhoon, so that was a little interesting. And I've also been over to Thailand and back. Took a 6-month trip, started November last year, returned here in June of this year. Anyway, take care out there. Have a good time. Do follow recommendations and advice about being cautious with pursuing relationships with the local ladies. Many of them are quite wonderful. Many of them are quite attractive. But there are problems out there, and there are traps and scammers and all the other stuff that people have told you about. They all exist. Some of them are very subtle, so you have to be careful. Anyway, take care, have fun. I'll see you later.